Okay.
We live.
Hi, how
Is
you
that
doing?
what you're telling me?
Yeah, I thought you were gonna start.
Hi everyone. We need to like restart. What was that? Hi everyone. I know y'all are like trickling in for the second, right, Andrew? This is like the second NYou. NYou.
The third, I guess the second, the first one this week. We had two last week, and then this is the first one this week. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. The third. So I know y'all are trickling in for the third installment of NYou, which is happening over the 30 days series. As y'all are coming in, right now, you have to put up with just Andrew and myself. I'm Josh McKenzie with New Student Family Programs.
And I'm Andrew. I'm a senior studying journalism and African American studies, and I am the director of Medill on the board of directors this year.
So I think, Andrew, right, today what you wanted to be able to talk about and present for students is about Wildcat Welcome and like what to expect, right?
Yeah, it's just more of like an overview of what Wildcat Welcome is, what's the point of it, why we do it, and what exactly it'll look like, and what exactly it'll look like.
What is the point of it? What is the point of this little Wildcat Welcome thing? So that's what we're going to talk about in the beginning, is about what Wildcat Welcome will, from an overview perspective, look like for 2020. But mainly what we want to be able to do is provide y'all an opportunity to hear from some current students. So after you have to hear me like blabber on for a little bit about Wildcat Welcome, really we're going to then bring in some PAs and you'll hear them talk about their own experience starting Northwestern, their thoughts around coming in and starting Wildcat Welcome, moving through that, what they got from it, what they didn't get from it. So that's really what you can expect, and it will probably be the much better part of this NYou session than me in particular. But what I am going to do is share my screen to show you some information around Wildcat Welcome and to get started. Andrew, does it look like you can see this and it looks a-okay?
Yeah, you're doing great.
Thank you so much. I need this validation right now. So, okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about Wildcat Welcome, obviously, within here. Before I go into the depths of exactly what Wildcat Welcome is, I want to be able to provide an overview of what are the ways that we, as we look at New Student Family Programs, which is the office that really works to support students from the moment they say yes to this place through the end of their first year. I want to provide you with an idea of, for this year in particular, what are we doing, what are we building to help you transition to Northwestern, whether you are physically here or joining us from afar. So there are four main ways in this first quarter that we're going to be helping provide some guidance and help as you transition to Northwestern. The first is 30 Days to Northwestern, which we're part of right now. NYou is day, oh my gosh, are we at day like 21 days to go? 22.
I think we're closer than that. I had no clue. I was fine. I'm gonna take your word for
it. I need some more days. But anyway, so this 30 Days to Northwestern series was created as a way to provide y'all with a way to start learning a little bit more about Northwestern, start hearing from some current students or returning students, and then also starting to learn a little bit about each other through some different like Instagram challenges or posts that are happening. So that was the first. The second, of course, is Wildcat Welcome, which I'll be talking a little bit about, which is the 6th to the 15th. Third is Purple Prep Fall Quarter. Okay, so you hopefully, and if you're not, please don't tell me because I may cry, but Purple Prep is something that you're familiar with, hopefully throughout the fall or throughout the summer. And what it does is provide you with a good rundown of what to expect, what to do, and provide updates and whatnot as you prepare for Northwestern. Well, we're going to continue that into the fall quarter, and it's going to be turned into a weekly communication rather than the first Tuesday of each month. So each week we'll be sending out Purple Prep, which will provide you all a way to like address some transitional issues that are usually happening around each week, as a way to connect with some current or returning students around their own experiences around those transitional topics, and also make sure we're still helping you connect into different campus resources, but also like events that are happening around so that you can continue building your network at Northwestern. And then the fourth is Dub Plus. And so Wildcat Welcome, of course, is what we're going to talk about. And it's a great like way to build your foundation. But Dub Plus programming throughout the quarter is going to be a way to continue what we get started in Wildcat Welcome. So a way to continue learning about Northwestern and figuring out how to navigate this place. A way to continue building out your network, your base network that you start in Wildcat Welcome. And doing a couple of other things. So that's like an overview, at least, of how we're aiming to support you in your first quarter. But for Wildcat Welcome, what I don't want to do is go through like a day-by-day overview. You have to wait until the beginning of September for that. I'm so sorry. But I do want to provide some base stuff to help inform you before you start hearing PAs talk about their own experiences, and also as you may answer some questions too. So we won't be going into specifics of the schedule, but here's some overview stuff. As you think about navigating Wildcat Welcome, there's two main ways you're going to learn about the schedule and your schedule in particular. One of them is the My Dub snapshot. So what that is a personalized overview of each day of Wildcat Welcome. So sent nightly directly to your Northwestern email, we're going to be sending you a personalized look at what your day for the following day will look like. So we're really helping to build out your schedule, but also it'll be an opportunity to look at reminders and announcements that are happening during that time. You'll learn about different ways to build connections the next day with other new students or returning students. And then also we're going to be announcing some winners in those emails of daily challenges, and you'll learn more about that in case you want to win anything. But you'll start receiving those the night before you move to campus, or on September 5th if you are going to be studying remotely with us. But that's just a day-to-day. If you are at all like me and you're like, I need more of an overview of everything, you'll also get to see an overview of Wildcat Welcome in Canvas. Canvas is going to be our window to anything and all things Wildcat Welcome. So that's where programs and activities will be, but that's also where we'll be centralizing all of the resources that you need to know about. So not only will you be accessing that throughout Wildcat Welcome to participate in everything, it'll also still be in your Canvas dashboard throughout your first year. So you'll be able to go back and revisit the resources and recordings and whatnot at any point, just so you have that always accessible and at your fingertips. Because, oh my gosh, sometimes like the first week is such like a whirlwind, no matter where you are, that you're like in October, you're like, wait, there's something that they talked about back in September. Well, now you'll have an opportunity to go directly back to it and see it. But you'll receive access to that on September 5th. And then as you're thinking, I know Andrew earlier asked, he's still asking what the point, I guess, of Wildcat Welcome is, even though he helps to run it. But really the focus of Wildcat Welcome is to help you build a foundation to navigate Northwestern, helping you connect to new and returning students and understanding community values and expectations. So there's a couple of different things that we do, but really it's meant as a way to welcome you to this place and help you start to make connections. Something that we say all the time, and you can, because I know it's corny, is really turning this place of buildings into a place of people. So how are we making sure that you're connecting with current students, new students, staff and faculty to help you access this place in the way that you want to move through your time here. So we won't go through like the full schedule, but I wanted to provide at least a couple of different nuggets of information around the schedule. One of them is on move-in day in particular. So for those that are moving to campus, that's the first day of your Wildcat Welcome. And so that's why you won't get a dubbed up snapshot email until the night before. So you'll have, when you move to campus, you'll go through a slew of things that you will learn more about in the coming weeks. But this is time, of course, you'll move to campus, you'll go through, you'll check into your Wildcat Welcome Center to grab and go on materials that you need. It's the first time you'll go through a residential area meeting. You'll participate in a First Night Northwestern program that evening, which really helps to set the tone and welcome you and start Northwestern. And then it will also be the first time you have an official meeting with your PA at the beginning of your Wildcat Welcome experience. And that will provide an overview of your next few days in particular. So that's what a move-in day will look like. And then for our remote students, you'll be doing some of those things on September 6th in particular. We have a couple of like capsule programs that will be happening over the slew of those at the beginning of Wildcat Welcome. One of those are pre-TNDs. I'll talk about True Northwestern Dialogue series in just a moment, but for pre-TNDs, that is just a time, they're online programs that provide a foundation for y'all around our values of the community that you need before you even get into the TNDs. So you'll have an opportunity in the first few days to complete the pre-TNDs and then academic prep. Some of y'all, not everyone, but some of y'all are going through an initial advising meeting right now. Well, you'll complete advising during Wildcat Welcome on your academic prep day, which you'll learn about again at the beginning of September. But that'll be a time where you learn about anything and everything academics, like how do I build a foundation around that? So what does it look like to acquire books? What does it look like to even look around at classes if you're not familiar with that yet? How do I use Caesar, or how do I use Shopping Cart, or how do I use CTEX? What is an academic advisor? And then you'll go into your final advising session or advising sessions, and then you'll do course registration during Wildcat Welcome as well. Three other main pieces for it. One is building connection. So many of y'all and also your family members have asked, how do we build connections? How are we going to be able to do that if a lot of this may be virtual? Do not worry. We have more than enough spaces that you will be able to build some really solid foundations. And for those of y'all that joined in on the university's Return to Campus webinar last Thursday, that provided a really wonderful overview of what the student experience may look like for the fall quarter. If you didn't watch that, I would encourage you to go back and watch that recording. You can access that through the Return to Campus website, especially as it talks about anything and all things related to health and safety. But this provides just a few pieces during Wildcat Welcome of like how you may be building connections. PA group programs, something called student transition experience panels. So a couple of different instances throughout Wildcat Welcome in which you'll be able to hear from returning students, but also some space to be able to connect with incoming students. So an example of this is there's going to be a panel around for gap year students in particular. So if you took a gap year years before you came, you'll get to hear from returning students who also did that and what their experience like was transitioning to this place. And also you'll have an opportunity as a trailer to that to start meeting other new students who also took a gap year. Affinity spaces, which is largely going to be hosted by Multicultural Student Affairs. These are going to be centered around certain identities, and it will be a really wonderful way of building a starting support system and meeting other new students and returning students. There'll be a lot of residential programs that'll be happening throughout, and then you'll learn more about involvement opportunities as well, because a lot of y'all have asked about what do student organizations are going to look like, or how do I do X, Y, Z? So you'll learn about that during Wildcat Welcome as well. There'll be a President's Convocation series that will really provide an opportunity to hear from and connect with campus leaders at the beginning of each day of Wildcat Welcome. So that's something that I'm really excited about, because we have a new format for this time around that I actually think will be a lot better than it has in the past. And so President's Convocation series, and then TNDs, which you may hear a little bit about from PAs in a minute, but that's our True Northwestern Dialogue series, which if you've talked to any student, a lot of them will really talk about TNDs as one of the pivotal parts of their Wildcat Welcome experience, and starting to learn and engage in dialogue with peers around certain topics like diversity, equity, and inclusion, well-being, and healthy relationships. Okay, I just ran through that. So that is like my spiel on Wildcat Welcome. But what I want to do now is be able to invite the rest of the PAs who are going to be joining to talk about their own experiences. So what I hope that did, that run through of a base, was provide you with some context that they're going to be talking from as they talk about their own experience, and even as you think about what that may mean for you coming in less than 25 days, Andrew, whatever we decided today was in the countdown.
I think it's 18 now. So yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh, 18? I was so off. I was over 20 still. Okay, well, 18 days left. But anyway, Andrew, do you want to bring the rest of everyone in?
Yeah, and the other thing I want to, if the PAs who are on the call want to join and, turn your cameras back on so we can see you. But the other thing I wanted to add is if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat box as well. We're going to be providing some questions for them, but we also want to hear if you guys have any questions or thoughts that you have as well. So definitely feel free to put those in the chat box if you hear something that you want to follow up on.
So I think what we want to be able to do is first, before we get to any questions whatsoever, is to go around and do some introductions of people that have joined us so far. But if Abriel, maybe if you want to start us out.
Yeah, so my name is Abriel. I'm a rising fourth year. I'm a journalism and economics double major. My hometown is Jakarta, Indonesia. Are we doing the fun question or are we leaving it out?
Let's go for it.
Okay, so
I mean, other people can decide whether or not it's fun, I guess.
The fun question is, what song have you been listening to on repeat? And I've been listening to Gregory Porter. He's like this jazz musician, so that's me.
Hi, my name is Alex Chutton. I am a rising second year studying journalism and sociology. I'm from Maple Grove, Minnesota, which is a suburb just outside Minneapolis. And I have been listening to Blonde by Frank Ocean, just like bringing it back. And also, of course, WAP by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Yeah.
I'm Natalie. I'm also a rising fourth year. I'm studying economics and mathematical methods in the social sciences. I grew up outside of Boston, but am more recently from Bethesda, Maryland. I've been listening to Kyoto by Phoebe Bridgers on repeat recently.
I'm Maya. I'm also a rising fourth year, which is kind of crazy. I study journalism, sociology, and gender studies. I'm from Annapolis, Maryland, and I recently have been trying to get my friends into country music, so I've been introducing them to a lot of Casey Musgraves. So we've been listening to Golden Hour kind of as a unit.
Hi, my name's Jacob. I'm a rising senior studying social policy and political science. I am from Cape Elizabeth, Maine, which is just south of Portland, Maine. And that what Maya said made me think I have been listening to whatever country song my brother decides to belt out in the family room that I can hear. Yeah.
I thought you were just looking up at him. Like I thought he was standing over you, the way you like looked over.
I was expecting to hear it any second now.
Josh, what have you been listening to?
What have I been listening to?
He's been listening to folklore all day.
Okay, Maya has been in proximity, and she has been hearing me listen to folklore. But I also have what has woken me up each day. It has been my alarm clock. Has been WAP. So that's where we are at this moment in time. Okay, thank you so much for intros. Andrew, wait, did you share what you have been listening to?
I did not. I've been listening to "Laugh Now, Cry Later" by Drake. It's just a great song. Came out last week. I've been bumping it every single day. It's a great song.
Thank you for sharing that, Andrew, in this space. So we have a couple of questions that I know we want to hear more from y'all on, so we can share that with new students. The first in particular is when you were thinking about when you were getting ready to come to Northwestern. So you have to do like a rewind for yourself and think 14 years ago when you first started at Northwestern. What was running through your head as you thought about Wildcat Welcome and that first week?
I think for me, it was just kind of like nerves, and excitement. I think coming in, like all my friends are already left for school. I was kind of just sitting at home waiting. So I think the main thing for me was kind of excitement about like getting started. I didn't really have a full idea of like what to expect or like classes or anything like that. I think the classes are probably the thing that I was most nervous about, like not having any clue what to expect or like what the track was to graduate, which like isn't something that you really have to think about as a freshman year fall quarter. But I think definitely for me, it was getting used to classes and just like being excited about the transition.
I definitely was one of those people who thought that I had to come into college with literally everything figured out. And so I was like, I need to know all the requirements for my major, and I need to know, like, if I'm double majoring, I need to do that right away and like get to know all my professors and all that. And I think I realized pretty quickly that it was okay if I did not have it all together in the first week. So that was a nice realization coming into Wildcat Welcome.
I would say I agree with everything that's been said, and also just like excited and nervous. But for me, it was a lot about just like my friends, especially because my friends had gone to college, and like at least from the town I was in, a lot of my friend group went to the same school, like the state school. And so I was very aware that my friend group was going to be like different at Northwestern because kids are coming in from all over the world. And so I was really excited to see like how friendships would develop, but also nervous, of course, to leave home.
Perfect. Thank you all for sharing and jumping from that. So going from what you were thinking before you walked into this space, then thinking about Wildcat Welcome itself. So we talked about, and I did in the little run through that I did, but we talked about different purposes for Wildcat Welcome and what people get out of it. But for you in particular, what did you find was most valuable from your own Wildcat Welcome experience that you think especially is transferable to students coming in this year?
The biggest thing for me, I think, sort of answering both questions at once, before coming to Northwestern, I was very scared about not making friends and about like my entire life, I'd had the same group of friends, like pre-K through 12. And I like wasn't sure I would be able to make friends here. So the biggest thing for me was just having a PA as sort of like an automatic friend and like a supporter for you as you go through Northwestern. And I know it can sound kind of like and kind of like, oh, here's your friend. This is like your institutional friend. But in my experience, as a PA and being around other PAs and having a wonderful PA myself, they're really there to support you and like to cheer you on and be your friend in all of your endeavors. So it was really helpful to just have that like solid footing as I started my Northwestern journey.
I thought you were about to say being an amazing PA myself. I know.
Well, that too.
It's important to pump yourself up. So I think that's fine.
Yeah, just piggybacking off what Jacob said, I think it's when you, my feelings were, I knew Northwestern as an administration, someone in the admissions office wanted me there, but knowing that there were people at Northwestern, like my PA, who had sent me emails who wanted me there, it was a different feeling that there were people there that actually thought, hey, I want you there. Like that made me feel a lot better. And also just having your PA group, which are the other incoming students that you'll be spending the majority of Wildcat Welcome with. I call them my day zeros. They were there with me in this first kind of week, and we were all kind of scared together. And that shared experience, it goes a long way because I'm still friends with a lot of them now.
I mean, I love that, day zeros.
Yeah, I kind of also had a similar experience of being very focused on building community during Wildcat Welcome, and was really grateful for, or I came in very nervous about it, and so was grateful to come in and have all these people who also wanted to help support me as I built community and built community with me, whether it was my PA and PA group or my RA and the people in my dorm or the people in my program. Yeah, I wasn't on my own in building community, which was helpful.
I think so. Y'all probably, as you're watching, you probably like heard a theme as people were, talking about their what they found most valuable, and this connects a little bit with what Brandon asked in the chat of if we're thinking about remote students who are studying remotely, and is there anything I'm going to be missing from Wildcat Welcome since I'm studying remotely? I think the question, which is, a lot of people, what they describe from Wildcat Welcome is really having an opportunity, as you heard from them, building a foundation of a network and starting to make those connections. And that's something that will absolutely be available for students, no matter where you are. So whether you are participating in Wildcat Welcome from your residence hall room on campus, or you are logging in from home 1,000 miles away, you will still have the same opportunities to be able to engage and participate in some spaces where you can build those connections and have an opportunity to build that network. Because, I mean, even if you aren't arriving to campus now for your first quarter, you will. And so how do we make sure that the reason that we're setting it up this way is so that you not only have that foundational support system in your peers during this remote quarter, but when you do get here as well. So everything will be still accessible in some way, no matter where you're logging in from, for sure.
Just think one thing I want to add. I think the common theme and the thing that I think a lot of us brought up is like the shared experience, and like ultimately, even if you aren't in person, the shared experience of going through this for the first time, and also like over doing things remotely, like that is still a shared experience that you have, and even if it's not you're coming into contact with those people, you still have that shared experience. You can all grow together, knowing that you're going through the same thing together. I think it's something to really reiterate is that it might seem different, but you are still doing the same thing together. And even your PA, I mean, going through this experience of doing things over Zoom too, like they're also going through that as well.
For sure. Thanks for that, Andrew. Okay, so you talked a little bit about what was valuable. So I want to mildly pivot a little bit. But thinking about like the essence is still the same, no matter if we're thinking about your experience in 2018 or we're thinking about what 2020 will be. The essence of still, students transitioning, newness, trying to figure out everything, and like how to just navigate systems. That's all new. So for you in particular, in your like first weeks on like with Northwestern, what was most challenging for you to like figure out or navigate?
I think for me, I could just start this one. I like definitely had this idea of what I thought college was. And I think like, how can you not, right? Because my only like exposure to college before going to college was just like through movies or TV show or media. And so I wouldn't say I necessarily struggled with it, but I was having trouble like balancing like my own life and then like what I thought that college was going to be. And it was still like, it's an amazing experience, but there was a lot of like preconceived notions and ideas of things that I thought would happen or fall into place that didn't necessarily. And so just kind of like understanding that like your journey is your own and just like centering yourself throughout the whole process rather than thinking that things should happen.
I think I definitely had the classic, you go to the activities fair and you put your email address on every single list for every single club. And then you're shook when they actually like want you to do stuff. So I definitely had trouble figuring out like work-life balance in the first few weeks because I just wanted to do literally everything. And then I kind of had to learn how to pare things down and create a manageable schedule that was also enjoyable for me. But I figured out how to do it and it's fine now. But in the beginning, it was overwhelming.
Yeah, my first few weeks, kind of similar experience. It might just be rephrasing what you said, but I had trouble figuring out the boundaries between social time and school time and club time and alone time, because like you're living with your friends and you're also studying with your friends and or the people that you've just met, and it's much less clear when you're doing what, and it's kind of more on you to take responsibility. Or I felt it was new to me to need to take responsibility to like decide when I was doing what and to remember that I had to take care of these different parts of my life.
I think that's really important. Thank you for saying that, Natalie. I think that's so important in thinking about how you begin to like set up a structure for yourself, or how you begin to set up what a day or a week looks like for you, because it is going to be a different pace. You're going to have a different platter of things to be able to choose from or engage in than you have the past few months, or if you're coming directly from high school or whatever else. And so no matter where you are, I think that rings so true. So I'm glad you said that. Anyone else? Okay. Well, so now after everything so you have at least successfully made it through your own Wildcat Welcome and your first year. So what would you go back and tell your pre-Northwestern self as you were preparing to start Wildcat Welcome? I think some of y'all were already touching a little bit on this as you were talking in some of the previous questions, but if you were to need to like go back to your younger self before you started Wildcat Welcome, what would you tell yourself?
My biggest sort of mistake during Wildcat Welcome and during my fall quarter was not realizing how much flexibility the quarter system offers. And if I could go back, I would tell myself to just take it easy the first quarter or two, to be honest, just to acclimate yourself to college. Especially the quarter system, it moves very fast. And there's a lot more work than high school. But the flip side of the quarter system is that you have a lot of room to take 3 class quarters and to drop a class. So just be easy on yourself the first quarter. Don't try to like cram all your classes in to like get right on the road to your degree. You have plenty of time, and there's plenty of room to drop a class or just take 3 your first quarter. So definitely like let yourself sort of gradually acclimate to college.
Yeah, I think Jacob makes such great points, but I also think for Wildcat Welcome and for that first quarter, My advice would just be to enjoy it, and that's going to look different for different people. But try to turn off all of the expectations that you think you have to be in that first quarter, and all the expectations that, oh, Wildcat Welcome, I'm going to meet all my friends here. Just turn that off and enjoy it, however, whatever that means. If that means talking to more people, do that. If that means taking more alone time, do that. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be perfect right off the bat. Just try to have as much fun as you can.
I would definitely say that for just like all of college. I think like, I know that some of you are coming in with your 4-year plan because that's the kind of people that Northwestern students are. And you should really scrap it, because things are going to come up and opportunities that you didn't know existed are going to come your way. And if you don't take them because you have this idea of what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to miss out on some really cool things. So I think just go with the flow a little. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just kind of take things as they come.
I would say be open, or not necessarily be open, but like just know that there's so much learning and growing that's going to be done, especially your first year way. Like I specifically remember my PA was talking about like her first year as a freshman, and she said like, I had so much growing to do. And I like, as a freshman, I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. But honestly, like you learn so much just from like other people and just living by yourself. And you learn a lot about who you are and like what you like to do. Like, I don't know. So just like have an open mind and be ready for that, I guess.
If I had any piece of advice, I guess I would say like don't pay attention to other people. And by that I mean like I think when you because we go to school later than other people, I think like you see other people like already have these established friend groups, or like they already have their set friends, and you think that you have to do the same thing when you get to campus. I would say relax, like like give yourself time to find your place in your space. Don't be so worried about what other people are doing on the outside. You kind of just focus on your path and what you think is best for you, and don't be so worried about making friendships that like you like with people like you don't fully know, or like you don't think is best for you. Do what you think is best for you. Take your time. Eventually, you'll kind of find the people that you want to be around in the future at Northwestern.
Yeah, kind of following the theme of time, I would say my advice would be to keep in mind that fall quarter freshman year or first year is 3 months of like probably 4 years. And so you're not gonna like, even if you come in and you like meet all these amazing people and feel like they're your best friends, like you're still not gonna really feel like the emotional intimacy with them for like a while longer, because you've still only known them 3 months. And it like, think about all the 3 months you've lived in your life. Like it's the beginning of a lot of things, but not like the beginning of everything you'll experience, and not the end of everything you'll experience.
I'm so glad you said that, because I think like, because we're on the quarter system, everything feels so not rushed, but it feels like so much has to happen in such a short amount of time. And that's how people then naturally move over academics to relationships. And that's just not how relationships work. So I think that's so important in reframing of, it's 3 months. It's an important 3 months because it's your first 3 months associated with Northwestern, but it's not the X amount of years that you have had building relationships in your hometown or hometowns or whatever else. So I'm sorry, Maya, I think I stepped on you.
No, it's okay. Can I say one more thing? I know the question was like, what, but like, I think that especially in your first year, imposter syndrome is like a really big thing. And I kind of thought of it because of what Andrew was saying about not comparing yourself to other people. But I think there's sometimes this pressure to be good enough, whatever that means. And so one of the things that I had to learn to tell to myself, and what I always tell to my students now that like I've been a PA, is that instead of thinking about how lucky you are to be at Northwestern, you also need to think about how lucky Northwestern is to have you. And I think once you switch that mindset and think about the way that this community is benefiting from you being here, that's kind of a better place to be in.
Mm-hmm. That's so true. I think there's so much that each of you have been, walking through over, even just over the this year in 2020. And so echoing in what Maya was saying is I hope not only you see the value of yourself here and why you are important to this space, no matter where you're attending from, but also that you take that time to care for yourself too. And I think to be gentle with yourself and the expectations that you have for yourself right away, which connects back to what every single person has been talking about, even thinking about, earlier April had mentioned, how building connections with people or sometimes you have to, feels like you need to step outside of maybe a comfort zone or whatnot to start building those connections. And it's going to feel that way still in a virtual space, certainly, but that feeling doesn't go away. So how do you make sure that you're leaning into this newness, but at the same time being gentle with yourself and caring for and acknowledging, I think, the emotions and the well-being of yourself as you transition through a quarter that's going to look different probably than your future quarters with Northwestern, for sure. Andrew, did we have other questions that we wanted to chat through?
I just want to reiterate to everybody who's watching, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But the only other one that I see is, I think you talked about this earlier, but it was what materials will we receive upon arrival at Northwestern? So I figured I'd let you answer that one because I don't know the answer to that personally.
Yeah, so I think Felicia may have asked that question, I think, when I had mentioned the Wildcat Welcome Centers, if I remember correctly. And so students are going to receive a lot of different things. And so I don't want to provide a rundown of what all of that is, because I know I will not mention something that is vital and important. But anything that's specifically related to Wildcat Welcome and orientation stuff, I also don't want to reveal all of it because maybe some of it is a surprise. But in terms of what you're picking up from the Wildcat Welcome Center on moving day, I will say, if you are studying remotely, that's something that we're going to be sending to you as well. So for example, that little box could include your class t-shirt, exciting fun things like that. So, but there'll be a lot of material. It's not just Wildcat Welcome stuff on your move-in day, or for those that are moving on campus. There's a lot of other items you'll receive throughout the day, whether that's in your residence spaces or from your Wildcat Welcome Center.
Awesome. Well, I think those are all the questions. But thank you to everybody for tuning in today. Next week at the same time, we'll do the next edition of our webinar, which will be about involvement at Northwestern. But thank you guys for tuning in, and talk to you guys next Wednesday.
Thank you all so much.